Hello, welcome back to the channel. It is 21 days until Christmas, and today I'm going to do a video on a fruitcake recipe. This recipe is from my mother, and she has been using it for 40 years, and she received it from a nice lady in Oklahoma so many years ago. So it's a very old recipe, and I'll be the first to tell you I do not like fruitcakes bought out of a store. I cannot stand them. But this recipe we're going to be doing today is a very good recipe in my opinion, and everyone around here loves it as well. So the recipe calls for, and I'll put this on in the description of the video. The entire recipe will be detailed there as well, but I'm going to go over it for you here, kind of as we do it, as we make the fruitcake. So it calls for 1 pound of chopped candied cherries, and they're going to be in a container kind of like this. Also 1 pound of pineapple, and you can get those also, they come in a bag usually, and 1.5 pound of chopped dates. They also come in boxes or packages as well. And then 2 quarts of chopped pecans, or pecans for those of you in the extreme south. You also want to preheat your oven to 275 degrees at this time. This recipe will make 3 loaf pans about this size, and this size is a 9 5/8 by 5.5 by 2 3/4 deep, and it will do 3 of those. Now you can use any size pans that you want to. You know, you just have to play around with the recipe and know how much each container will hold. So once we have got here in this bowl the mixed, all the fruits, the dried fruits, which would be the cherries, the pineapple, and the dates, are all in this pan. Now, we'll tell you, as far as the cherries go and the pecans, you can see in this container here, we have saved some to put on to garnish the top of and to decorate the top of the fruitcake after the fact. And you also want to save back some whole pecans as well, so you can make it look presentable and help the presentation. So the white powdery mixture that you see on the dried fruits, I'll go over that now. It is 2 cups of all-purpose flour and 1/2 of a teaspoon of salt, and then 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And this is kind of what that looks like, and I have reserved some of that back to coat the pecans with, because I'm about to pour the pecans in this pan. But we have poured some in here and coated all the dried fruits first. So I believe that's all I have at this time. We have some eggs that have been beaten up over here on the counter, and I'll also show you or tell you what we have done with those as well, and as far as how many eggs, and then it's got sugar added to it as well. But right now we're going to get these pecans mixed in with the dry mixture and get that done at this point. So what I'm going to do is just sprinkle some of this in here. And this looks like a lot of pecans, which it is. 2 quarts, yes, a lot of pecans. So just going to get in here with your hands, get all the way into the bottom. You just want these to be well incorporated and mixed really well. And you'll know when they start getting, you know, everything gets to be a consistent color. You'll know that you've got it where it needs to be. to be patient with it. It takes a little time to get this done, but it is well worth it, I promise you. All right, so I believe that's in pretty good shape.
That has to set for 1 hour.
Yeah, that's after we pour the eggs in there with it. There will be a time that it needs to set as well. Okay, so next I'm going to wash my hands, and we're going to go over the wet ingredients that we pour on top of this. Okay, so we are back, and I'm going to go over the wet ingredients now with you, and it's really simple. All it is 4 eggs, and they are in this bowl here, and you beat them with a mixer until they are frothy, which all that means is that they have, you can see the bubbles coming up on the top of them. And as you're beating them with your mixer, you're going to add in 1 cup of sugar. And we've already done that, and I'm just going to do this. You add your sugar in there slowly as you're mixing it with this mixer. And I'm just going to do this just to liven these back up because they've been sitting a few minutes. So I'll do that, and then we're just going to pour that straight over into this pan. Now, one thing I wanted to mention before, and is this pan that we've got all this stuff mixed in is a 7-quart pan, and you can see it's at its capacity with this recipe. So if you want to do something bigger, in a bigger pan, feel free to, but this is a 7 quart. All right, so I'm going to lightly do these eggs. Okay. All right. So that's the wet ingredients. That's all there is to this. So I'm going to just dump this over the mixture. Okay, now the fun begins. So I'm just going to slowly go around this bowl, incorporating the wet ingredients over the dry ingredients. You have to make certain that you get all the way to the bottom and dig out all the dry, because they like to hide in the corners of the pan, or the pan here. And you'll start to see when everything, just as before, starts to get uniform as far as the consistency. Once again, slow and steady wins the race here. Honestly, this recipe I could eat any time of the year. I could eat this in the middle of July. It's that good. Okay, so I'm getting very close to having this all mixed up. Not really seeing any dry spots show up at this point. Okay, so I'm going to call this good as far as being ready to put in the pan, and I'll come back whenever we get this ready to pour in the pan and show you that, show you how full you need to what level you need to put them in the pan, and we'll stick them in the oven and let them cook. Okay, we are back and we're ready to put the mixture into our baking pan. Now you're going to want to let this set at least or right around an hour. Let it stand for an hour once you've got it mixed up. And we've got that done, and we're ready to scoop this over in the pan. Now I'm going to be filling this pan to about 1 inch below the top edge here, and this does not get any kind of nonstick or butter. It doesn't get any kind of grease or butter or anything added to the pan. You just scoop the mixture right over into it, and there's no real graceful way to do this. You just get a big spoon, and now these, if you have the chance, these need to be prepared ahead of time, because the most intense flavor will show up, what did you say, 20 days or so before. If you can bake them that far in advance, the flavor will intensify quite a bit. Okay, so I've got these pushed into the corner. Put some in this corner. Okay, so now you want to add the cherries to the top, okay? Okay, so I'm supposed to cut these cherries in half. So she's going to get me a knife. And this is just strictly for garnishment. And put them in the middle, like that. About how many? 3 of them? Okay. Alright, so one in the middle and one on the end.
Pecans in between.
And pecans in between. I'm glad she reminded me of this. This is the most important part. This is what makes it look pretty. So how do you place those around the edge?
Crossways in between.
Right here? Or like that? Okay.
Just one.
Just one? Okay, and then one there.
Yeah.
One on each end? Or no? That's good. Alright. So, okay, so this is ready to go into the oven at this point. Now, one trick that I want to tell you about the oven, and this is important. You'll see when we open the oven, we have like a 5x7 cake pan that has water in it. And that is to keep the oven moist, just as if you would do if you were smoking meat or something like that. It's just strictly to keep moisture in the oven as much as possible. So that is ready to go in. So okay, so I'll bring you back when we get this out and show you what it looks like. Welcome back. So we have the fruitcakes out of the oven now. They were in there for 1 hour and 15 minutes is the cook time. And we have 2 sitting out here. One is already out of the pan, and we've cut some of it off. And then the one thing we want to emphasize is make sure that you fill these up a little bit more full than even we've got these. What happens is it tends to overcook the fruit cake, and it'll make it more crunchy and brittle, as opposed to a thicker fruit cake, which will be more chewy. So I mean, you may have a preference, you may like one way or the other, but we're just telling you that's what you're going to get if you make the fruit cake thinner. In other words, if you don't fill the pan up more, then it will be a crispier fruit cake, which most people like them to be a little bit more chewy. But anyway, so we've got one piece cut off of this, and the one on the end, the piece on the end is always a little bit more crisp, just because it's on the end. But that's what you're looking like, and they are very, very tasty. And we hope that you have enjoyed this. Is that all the information that we have? Okay, well, thanks for watching, and enjoy this recipe. I hope everyone enjoys it, and Merry Christmas.